Hello and welcome to your English news here on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time from our headquarters here in the capital, Asmara. With your local and global news, I'm Zahra Badouri, but here are your exclusives for this broadcast. Commemoration of the 50th anniversary of 1975 massacre. Eritrean participates in the 88th Indian Ocean Conference. With more on your global, on your international protests for more peace in Munich, Germany. And China and Austria agreed to work to jointly voice support for upholding multilateralism. Welcome to your global report, to your local report. The commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the atrocities and massacres of innocent civilians perpetrated in Asmara and its environs in January and February 1975 by the Ethiopian Army of Occupation was held at Bahti Maskaram this afternoon. The poignant remembrance event held under the theme We Have Not Forgotten featured harrowing testimonies from survivors as well as moving poems and songs. The event was attended by ministers, senior government and PFDJ officials, ambassadors and members of the diplomatic community, as well as by a number of students and the general public. Mr. Asmarom Tsagabrhan, coordinator of the program, stated that the enemy forces committed numerous atrocities in an attempt to force the Eritrean people into submission and to suppress the Eritrean revolution by depriving it of support. He emphasized that the objective of the program was to ensure that the atrocities committed by the occupational forces, are not forgotten over time, and to educate the younger generation about these tragic events. Mr. Fasahaye Haile, governor of the central region, highlighted that around 11,000 innocent Eritrean civilians were massacred in an indiscriminate killing spree that continued across the city and in 57 surrounding villages for over 6 weeks. Many villages were only burned and churches were vandalized as the army mercilessly slaughtered helpless civilians who had sought a sanctuary in holy places. He also commended the participants for their role in the successful implementation of the program. An Eritrean delegation led by Mr. Osman Saleh, Minister of Foreign Affairs, is participating in the 8th Indian Ocean Conference convened in Muscat, Oman on 16 February under the theme Voyage to a New Horizon of Maritime Partnership. The two-day conference is organized in collaboration with India and Oman. The conference aimed to enhance mutual cooperation and partnership among countries bordering the Indian Ocean and is being attended by representatives of 40 countries, including 28 foreign ministers. Addressing the conference, Minister Osman Saleh stated that the Indian Ocean, spanning nearly 70.56 million square kilometers, is one of the world's most crucial maritime regions, playing an indispensable role in global trade, geopolitics, and environmental sustainability. He emphasized that the 8th Indian Ocean Conference underscores the ocean's significance and highlights the strategic imperatives that must be addressed. Minister Osman underlined that Eritrea, with its strategic location along the Red Sea, holds a significant position in the maritime landscape, providing access to key global shipping routes from the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean via the Suez Canal and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. As global dynamics shift in the Indo-Pacific and the Middle East, Eritrea is committed to enhancing maritime security and economic development through strengthened mutual beneficial partnership with the neighboring Africa and Gulf countries, reaffirming that the territorial integrity of all nations bordering these vital waterways is inviolable and non-negotiable. Minister Osman Saleh stated that the Indian Ocean Conference must amplify the voice of the Global South in the governance of the world's maritime domain. He emphasized that it is in the collective interests of all nations to uphold the principle of sovereignty and territorial integrity as enshrined in the United Nations Charter, noting that the 8th Indian Ocean Conference represents a recommitment to cooperation, unity and progress. Minister Osman stated that as nations navigate towards a new horizon, collaboration must be taken precedence over competition and resilience over vulnerability. He called for build a robust maritime partnership that ensures sustainability, stability and growth for future generations. Furthermore, Minister Osman emphasized that for these partnerships to be truly meaningful, they must be built on a solid foundation of trust, mutual respect and transparency. He cautioned against opportunistic alliances that lack sincerity and genuine commitment, as they will not serve the best interest of the nations in these regions. On your final, domestic ambassadors and members of the diplomatic community have observed the photo exhibition commemorating the 50th anniversary of the massacre committed by the Ethiopian colonial regime in Asmara and its surrounding areas. The exhibition, staged in front of the Asmara Municipality Office, featured 50 photographs, partial lists of victims' names, and documentary films highlighted the tragic event. After observing the exhibition, the ambassadors and members of the diplomatic community shared their reflections and statements in the Book of Commemoration. Meanwhile, Eritrean nationals who visited the exhibition emphasized the need for in-depth research and documentation on the gross atrocities and massacres of innocent civilians perpetrated in Asmara and its environs by the Ethiopian colonial forces. They also stressed the importance of continuously presenting these findings to the public to preserve historical memory and ensure that such events are never forgotten. Your global up next after this. And on your reports on the international line, multiple protests erupted in Munich, Germany, with large crowds of people taking to the streets to protest against armaments expansion and weapon exports by Western countries, which have escalated international tensions. The protesters also called for realizing peace through negotiations during the Munich Security Forces, which kicked off on Friday. Multiple anti-war groups organized protests, with the highlight being a rally of thousands of people in downtown Munich, themed the ability to achieve peace, not the ability to wage war. At the rally, thousands of protesters held banners and placards with slogans reading security, peace, diplomacy, not war, reject militarization and oppose weapon deliveries, calling for peace talks instead of military confrontation and demanding a halt to weapons export. Many protesters said that militarization policies do not bring peace. Instead, they exacerbate international tensions. They argued that Western countries' use of military forces to address regional conflict has only led to greater disasters and humanitarian crisis. In additional report, the protesters strongly condemned the deployment of long-range weapons by the United States and Germany. They believed that it has not only threatened European security, but also further dragged Germany into a geopolitical confrontation. This peace protest is not the first of its kind to stand against the existence of a U.S. army in Europe. On your final of your reports, the People's Republic of China is ready to work with Austria to joint voice support for upholding multilateralism, maintaining the authority of the United Nations, defending the international rule of law, and rejecting unilateral bullying, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi reported on Saturday. Minister Wang, also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee, made the remarks when meeting with the Austrian interim chancellor and Foreign Minister Alexander Schallenberg on the sidelines of the Munich security forces, noting that the world currently faces overlapping security challenges and economic crisis, as well as factors of instability and uncertainty. Minister Wang said that the international community is concerned about division and confrontation while yearning for peace and stability. Calling the focus of this year's Munich Security Conference on multipolarization timely, Minister Wang said China's original aspiration remains unchanged, which confirms to the trend of peaceful development and constantly plays a positive role in a changing world. The Chinese Foreign Minister said China is ready to work with Austria to jointly advocate multilateralism, defend the international rule of law, and reject unilateral bullying. China welcomes Austria to seize new opportunities brought by China's development, deepen mutually beneficial cooperation, and advance China-Austria relationship to continue leading China-EU relations. The Austrian Foreign Minister, however, Mr. Schallenberg, for his part, said that Austria and China respect each other and have conducted close cooperation on bilateral and multilateral issues. Mr. Schallenberg further said that Austria cherishes its relations with China and is ready to strengthen dialogue and cooperation with China as well. As this year marks the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and the EU, China stands ready to work with EU countries, including Austria, to invigorate China-EU relations and drive progress in the next 50 years. The two sides, however, also exchanged views on the situation of the Middle East and other issues. Dear viewers, this is a review of your exclusives for this broadcast. Commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the 1975 massacre. Eritrea participates in the 8th Indian Ocean Conference and diplomatic community observes exhibition marking 50th anniversary. Protests for peace in Munich, Germany, and China and Austria ready to work to jointly to voice upholding multilateralism. That is all for now for this news broadcast. Until we are back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. But bye-bye for now.